taking on Everton. And joining me in the studio today, I'm in for Kelly, and we've got two guests as well. We've got Gianni Buttigieg and Az Phillips as well. Thank you for coming in, guys. Nice to have a little bit of company. It has been an eventful fortnight, so just how many flags are we facing up to, Gianni?
Yeah, a couple for me, but I am seeing squads which look like a set of traffic lights, flags all over. And we always get this in the international break, perhaps not quite this bad. But of course, most have got good benches and transfers, right?
Right, Az?
Yeah, I mean, it's a difficult season for a lot of people, myself included, so looking at a team filled with injury doubts isn't ideal, but it does give us opportunity to highly owned players. If they are going to be missing out for a few weeks, it might be the chance to go with someone a bit different and hopefully climb the ranks.
Well, you're speaking about highly owned players. In case you missed the news during the international break, it does look like the highest scoring and most owned defender in the game, Gabriel, is going to be out injured for a little while. So, does that mean it's time to sell? Is there any debate over this?
Yeah, I think given that he is the most expensive defender we own, and he's probably the most highly owned as well, he's also the top scoring defender, so you can see why. But I think he's got to be a sell. I think if he's going to be out for a month, it's going to be a very congested schedule over that period when he's going to be coming back. And there's some good options as well, right across the different price brackets, so easy sell for me.
Looking at the fixtures, do you still want Arsenal coverage in the defence? The defence has been excellent so far. A lot of us have been doubled up on it. So is this an opportunity to go elsewhere, or do you stay where you are?
Yeah, I think if you don't already have an Arsenal defender or David Raya in place, moving Gabriel to another Arsenal defender to give you that cover probably makes sense. Although, look, most managers, myself included, already have a David Raya or a Timber or a Saliba. So with that in mind, then maybe you are looking to go elsewhere. I mean, they're the best defence in the league by some distance, and I don't even worry too much about tough fixture runs for Arsenal because they will go and keep clean sheets in any given fixture.
It's been hard going without Gabriel, though. I a big part of their success.
Yeah, there's a small sample size of games he's missed, and we have seen these numbers drop in his absence, but not huge. It's a marginal drop. And whoever comes in, whether that's Mosquera or even Cape or Calafiori plays left centre back, it's still a very good back four.
Yeah, you mentioned there about some of the doubt in defence about exactly how Gabriel is replaced. We'll have to wait and see what Mikel Arteta does, and that could change week to week. So I've seen your team as, everyone else will see it a little bit later. You've got Declan Rice. So is that the solution? Double up in attack if you're moving off a defender?
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. I think Arsenal are just such a good team in terms of the way they press, the system they've got in place. We see the Champions League players come in and out, and it doesn't seem to make any difference. They've kept this run of incredible clean sheets up until Sunderland. They're playing different fullbacks, different centre back players maybe coming in at different stages, giving people like Saliba a rest, or when he's been injured. So I'm not too worried about that. And Rice loses a bit of his appeal because obviously Gabriel is such a threat from the set pieces.
That's where the corners were going, yeah.
Yeah. So are we going to see Saliba maybe step up and maybe take some of that responsibility of Gabriel? Does it limit Rice? I still think you want to have at least one Arsenal defender personally.
Okay, if we are looking elsewhere, the most transferred in defender over the last 24 hours, I'm sure a lot of these moves will be for Gabriel, is Virgil van Dijk. So it seems an obvious move. The fixtures are improving for Liverpool. Their form is improving. Is that the way to go?
Yeah, some will point to the fact that Liverpool's defensive numbers haven't been good, but then others, like myself, will look at that fixture run and say they will start getting clean sheets. And Virgil van Dijk not only has the clean sheet chances, but unlike the vast majority of defenders in the game, he has huge set-piece threat with his headers. Yeah. But then he also gets defensive contribution points. I think he's got the second highest DEFCON average of all centre-backs. Only Senesi is higher than Van Dijk. And then, of course, he does really well in the bonus points. So he's got so many routes to points. Arguably, Gabriel is the only other defender in the game that has those routes to points.
When you look at the Liverpool defence as well, I mean, Alisson, obviously a goalkeeper, he's just coming back, so they should be strengthened by that, you would think. But then there's uncertainty in the full-back positions. We know now that Arne Slot spoke in his press conference. He said Conor Bradley's out this weekend. Jeremy Frimpong's also injured. On the other side, there's doubt about whether it's Kirkheads or Robertson. Kanate plays every week with Van Dijk, but it seems like it's Van Dijk or no one almost.
Yeah, I mean, you can make that argument for the whole Liverpool team in general, given the rotation that's happening in the attacking areas. So it's purely a fixture play for me. I haven't been impressed with Liverpool defensively. I think teams have worked out how to get at them a bit more. I don't think Kanate's been having a particularly great season. The fullback, I think with Szoboszlai coming in at the right back, they'll be looking at, he's had a great season, but they'll be looking to think they can target him. I don't love the Van Dijk pick as much as everyone else is making out. And
why?
I just don't trust Liverpool defensive Van Dijk. I think the ceiling is just there.
Speaking of fans to near goal, what about Daniel Munoz? Because his attacking threat, he's like an old school defensive FPL pick. DEFCONs have changed a lot of the way we look at our defence. Yeah. He's got a bit of that, but he's also got the attacking threat as well. So if you are unsure about Liverpool, is this the obvious alternative?
It's a fun attacking threat as well because it's not on set pieces, it's the open play stuff, which we don't see a huge amount of this season. The reliance on set pieces is huge. When you're watching games and you've got Daniel Munoz in your FPL team, you're watching it with such enthusiasm. And
He's not a Brighton fan.
Yeah, unfortunately.
We didn't see a 0-0 coming in that one, but I mean, Munoz has been so attacking this season. I think he's worth the extra on the other Palace defenders. Richards, Gahey, Lacroix, they're all great in their own price band, but if you can afford the extra on Munoz, you get the extra with the open play threat. I started the season with Munoz. I transferred him out on my game week 7 wildcard, and then when it got 3 attacking returns in 2 weeks, you can do that, goals and assists. I think he also was rested for Colombia, which was nice.
Okay, that's a bonus for us, isn't it? Certainly. Okay, well, there's a little bit of a dilemma, maybe more than usual, in our captaincy poll this week. We've picked out some names for you. So we've got Salah at home to Forest, Mateta away to Wolves, and Bumo at home to Everton. There's then Saka against Spurs. And the reason that there is maybe a little bit more of a question is that Haaland has got a tough-looking trip up to Newcastle. You can vote other, of course, as well, but scan the QR code at the bottom of the screen. Have your say. We'll check in on the standings at the end of the show, and we'll also leave the poll up until the deadline passes. So whenever you're watching the show, you can have your vote. Right, we thought we'd have a quick chat about the Africa Cup of Nations now as well, because it's not too far away, and it's certainly got huge implications for our FPL teams. A reminder, in game week 16, we'll all be topped up to 5 free transfers to help us deal with the change. This is how the tournament's looking then with the dates, Gianni, the impact that we think it'll have on FPL as well. So what do you think this means for us?
Yeah, I mean, the vast majority of players will be missing from game week 16. There is hope that 1 or 2 of your players might be around for that game week 17 fixture. Brian Mbeumo is one that's being talked about.
How is that?
Well, Man United are in discussions with Cameroon, and Mbeumo has said, I'll leave it to them to decide, but AFCON starts the day before the Aston Villa game for Man United game week 17, but Cameroon's first game isn't until day 4 of AFCON.
Okay.
So he could play both, and there is previous there with Onana when he was at United. He played days before a Cameroon game. But the vast majority, we've got to see our African players going to AFCON and think they're probably missing game week 17 to 19 best case scenario. But as we can see, some if they get through to the final, all the way through to game week 22. So we're going to need to sell these players. We can't hide them on the bench for 4 or 5 game weeks.
No.
But the good thing is, we get a ton of transfers.
Yeah, it's an opportunity, as we'll just have a look at some of the players then, the key FPL assets who are affected by the tournament. And there are some well-known players there, certainly.
Yeah, there are. I mean, Senegal and Egypt are some of the favourites to go all the way. So I mean, there's a lot of players from those countries, mentioned there. I think Morocco are the favourites, such as Mazraoui, who's not on that list, but he's very, very highly tipped to do well. So there is some key players. I think the key thing is you don't want to have too many of these players going into those top-up 5 transfers, because you're going to have to use those transfers to get rid of them. Whereas I think actually keeping those 5 transfers for longer, maybe until an AFCON ends, which is going to be in game week 22, that might be in play.
Yeah, to get them back in. That is a different way of looking at it, to be fair. One of the players, of course, impacted by AFCON, that'll be heading to the tournament, is Brian Mbeumo of Manchester United, and he is the most transferred in player this week as well. The short-term fixtures look good for Manchester United too, Gianni, and he's got probably 5, we think, before he heads off to the tournament.
Yeah, fingers crossed it could be 6. So yeah, I mean, I'm hopeful here on Mbeumo. I transferred him in last week, and I saw managers thinking, I can't transfer him in because then he's an immediate sell. But if he's going to go and get you big points in the next 5-6 weeks, don't worry about that extra transfer if he's going to outscore them.
And you're going to be given the transfer by the game anyway to move on from him if you want to.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I watch Man United and I just think Mbeumo is the focal point of that attack. With Sesko out, even more reliance on Mbeumo. And look, there's good options there in the United attack. Bruno and Cunha are still good picks, but knowing Man United get a full week on the training ground with no European football, no EFL Cup this season now either, they just look fresh every weekend and their attacking numbers are really good. So even if you don't back